My name is Arthur Goldstuck. I run a market research company called Worx, which was a pioneer in researching AI in South Africa going back almost 10 years. I also present at events, at conferences and the like, and I've been presenting on AI for the past 10 years. So my perspective on AI is not merely generative AI, but the history and evolution of AI across numerous sectors, and especially its impact in a country like South Africa. When we talk about South Africa's AI moment, we are really talking about a global AI moment, because wherever you are in the world, in almost any industry, we are having an AI moment. So the big question, of course, is where does South Africa stand in this global AI moment? Is it just waiting for things to happen to it, or are we making things happen as well? Well, that very question was the motivation for the second edition of my book, The Hitchhiker's Guide to AI. The second edition of The Hitchhiker's Guide to AI has a subtitle, The African Edge. And the idea behind that is that AI is done differently across the African continent to what it is in Silicon Valley. It might even be the same AI that we're using, but we tend to put it to different uses. So, for example, in both West Africa and East Africa, in Kenya, in Senegal, there are great case studies of how AI is being used to enhance farming, to give small farmers technical tips, market advice, etc., and allow them to optimize not just their production, but also the way they bring their produce to market, for example. In South Africa, we're seeing it used extensively in health environments or health contexts that are not typical internationally. So one of the great South African challenges is how we deal with TB, tuberculosis. And in fact, AI is being roped in extensively in the attempts to address the TB crisis in this country. And you don't have that crisis in Western countries. So we, of course, have to use AI differently in this country, in other countries across the continent. The way I sum it up is that technology, AI, and emerging ways of using technology in the Western world are based on opportunity. In Africa, or across the African continent, it's based on need. So we are addressing challenges rather than money-making opportunities. Along the way, there will be opportunity. People will make a lot of money from AI on this continent. And in South Africa, we will also see that AI will produce incredible opportunity. It will grow jobs in certain sectors while taking many jobs away in other sectors. But we always are cognizant of the fact that we are using this imported tool, but adapting it to our own needs. The one advantage that we have in coming into the AI world later than many of the countries in which these foundational models are being built is that we learn from the mistakes that are being made elsewhere. And what we've seen, not just from generative AI, but from AI in general, is the extent to which the people developing AI solutions were often not even considering the ethical aspects, the extent to which they have a responsibility to make sure that AI is applied responsibly. One of the great case studies in my book goes back to 2014. So we're talking pre-generative AI. We're talking about the use of AI and machine learning in general. And that was when AI was used for recruitment of technology or technical staff in a big tech company. And what they did there was train the AI model on existing recruitment material, existing CVs, and essentially telling it to find what makes a successful applicant and then to apply that success story to new applicants. Slight problem. In the early days of the tech industry, especially in the United States, it was male dominated. So naturally, all of the CVs, or most of the successful CVs, were of male applicants. And therefore, the AI model learned that one of the success factors for recruitment is to be male. So the bias that that created was massive. And very quickly it became apparent. Very quickly there was a massive PR disaster on this company's hands. And very quickly they shut down the use of that tool. In fact, they didn't only shut down the tool itself, but they closed down the department responsible for it and fired everyone involved in that process. So it was an external PR disaster and it was an internal HR disaster. And a great case study from the United States about how not to do AI. I feel very privileged to have been asked to serve on the advisory board for the South African AI Awards, because it really encapsulates a lot of my thinking about how AI is being used in this country. And because we are doing AI different, because we are using AI to address challenges and to solve problems and to look at the needs of the country rather than simply making money from how we use AI in the commercial world, it means that we have unique solutions coming out of this country. So in the context of the AI solutions coming out of South Africa being so challenge-oriented and need-directed, we clearly have an opportunity to recognize AI startups and AI concepts that are completely different to what you might find elsewhere in the world. And that means that our AI, in a way, has its own identity. You could probably say that of any country, but in this country in particular, because we have so many challenges, because we have such incredible disparity of income, of access, of opportunity, it means that AI has an additional responsibility. And it's a fantastic opportunity to recognize those startups, those companies, those innovators who are addressing these challenges. It doesn't mean that all AI ideas, startups, or products have to be needs-oriented or solving problems or addressing challenges. It's just that that is what almost defines AI in South Africa. But beyond that, of course, we want to be able to show the world that we have some of the great innovators in fintech, for example, in health tech, beyond specific South African health issues, in educational technology as well, in agri-tech. Across the board, we have innovators who are at the cutting edge of thinking about how to use this technology for the future. And we would like to recognize those in the South African AI Awards. Not a day goes by that I don't find something that excites me in my use of AI, in my discoveries of how I use AI. And that tells me that once people let go of their fear or their inhibitions around the use of AI and they start exploring it, they're going to come up with incredible uses and use cases for AI. I gave a workshop at the Franschhoek Literary Festival a while ago where my audience consisted mostly of people over the age of 65 or even 70. And I put a challenge to the room. Tell me what ambitions that you have had in life or that you have now have been unfulfilled and that you would like to fulfill now. Of course, those who are willing to talk about it. And people came up with a fascinating array of answers. And for every one of them, I was able to show them how you could use AI to help you achieve that unfulfilled ambition. So even at the age of 70, you can use AI to achieve unfulfilled ambitions. So imagine at the age of 20, 25, 30, if you have ambitions and you're not sure how to fulfill those ambitions, what AI can do for you. So that's what excites me. AI helps you make your dreams come true. It's not perfect, it's not wonderful, it's not utopian, because there is the downside to AI. We are going to see what I've called in the past a privacy apocalypse. We're probably going to have a cybersecurity apocalypse as well, where suddenly we are all vulnerable to the hackers who are using AI. But the good guys are also using AI to fight against the hackers. So it doesn't balance out necessarily, but certainly it counterbalances the bad if you look at the good in the same context as the bad. So cybersecurity is a fantastic example of that. Education is another great example. Everyone's concerned about kids cheating and AI writing their essays for them, but they forget the extent to which AI can help us overcome the massive educational barriers and gaps in South Africa. So that excites me especially, waiting to see what innovations are going to emerge that helps us address that educational gap. Thanks to AI, but also other emerging technologies.